Most people believe the greatest danger in life is being alone. But let me tell you the truth. The greatest danger is being with the wrong person, away from it. Loneliness won't destroy your destiny, but misplaced love will strangle it at the root. And here's the paradox. The very moments you thought God was ignoring you, the times you thought heaven was silent, he was actually saving you, protecting you, and shielding you from a love that looked right but would have wrecked your soul. So let me ask you something. Why do so many people struggle in relationships? Is it simply fate, some cosmic accident of timing? Or is it a reflection of who we are, the choices we make, and the way we prepare or fail to prepare ourselves for love? That's the uncomfortable question. And it cuts deep, because if you think relationships are about stumbling into the right person, you've already surrendered your destiny to chance. Picture this: you're scrolling through social media, watching engagement photos, wedding announcements, love stories unfolding everywhere. And in the quiet of your heart, you whisper, when will it be my turn? But then comes the doubt, the knowing suspicion that maybe you're unworthy. Maybe you're not attractive enough, not spiritual enough, not accomplished enough. You start treating your waiting season as punishment instead of protection. But hear me, waiting is not weakness. Waiting is warfare. Waiting is not sitting idly by for someone to show up. It's building, becoming, preparing, because high-value love requires high-value people, and God will not deliver destiny into the hands of someone unprepared to carry it. So I challenge you, stop seeing delay as denial. Stop interpreting silence as abandonment. Every heartbreak you avoided, every relationship that crumbled, every unanswered prayer about love, it wasn't rejection. It was God's protection. And here is the truth you cannot escape. Wrong love is more dangerous than no love. That's why the very hand that closes doors in your life is the same hand that guards your future. And if you can grasp that, if you can believe, then you will never look at rejection the same way again. That's the hidden way God protects you from wrong love. You know, one of the most dangerous lies people believe is that love just happens. That if you wait long enough, or wish hard enough, or pray with enough intensity, somehow the right person will fall into your life like a gift-wrapped miracle. That belief is not only Narvi, it's destructive because it creates passivity, resentment, and ultimately desperation. And desperation doesn't attract love, it destroys it. So let me ask you, why do so many people struggle in relationships? Is it simply bad luck, some cruel twist of fate, or is it something deeper? Maybe the uncomfortable truth is this: most of us don't prepare for love. We demand intimacy without building character, and we crave commitment without cultivating responsibility. And when it doesn't work, we blame God or timing or everyone else but ourselves. I once spoke with a young man who was desperate to be married. Every week he prayed, every month he complained, and every day he asked, why hasn't God sent me my wife yet? But here's the truth. He wasn't ready. His life was a mess. He had no stability, no discipline, no vision. And so what did he do? He chased every woman who gave him the slightest attention. Each relationship ended in heartbreak, and he grew bitter, thinking God had abandoned him. But God hadn't abandoned him. God was protecting him, protect him from dragging another human being into his chaos. That's the lesson most people don't want to face. Desperation is a repellent. When you grasp at love out of fear, you don't project strength. Here's the mindset shift. You have to embracing marriage isn't a prize handed out to everyone who waits long enough. It is not the divine equivalent of a participation trophy. It's a covenant that demands preparation, responsibility, sacrifice. If you're not building yourself into someone capable of carrying that weight, then you're not ready for what you're asking God to give you. So I challenge you, stop waiting as if time itself will solve your problem. Stop chasing people who are running away from you. Instead, ask yourself, and am I becoming the kind of person worthy of the relationship I desire? Because the undeniable truth, God won't send you someone prepared if you're not prepared yourself. And that's the mic drop moment. Love isn't found, it's earned through growth. The right person won't complete you, they will complement you. But until you've built a life of substance, until you've confronted yours, the love you long for will remain hidden, because God, in his mercy, is protecting you from a disaster you're not ready to carry. Most people think the secret to finding love is chasing it harder, sending more messages, lowering their standards, compromising their values, begging for attention in 1,000 subtle ways. But here's the brutal truth, when you chase love out of fear, you diminish yourself. And when you diminish yourself, you make real love impossible, because no one worth having is drawn to desperation. They're drawn to strength, to stability, to someone who actually knows their worth. So let me the question to you plainly: why do so many people fail in love? Is it because God has abandoned them? Or because fate is cruel? Or is it because they've never truly asked themselves, am I the kind of person someone of value would want to be with? That's the question most people avoid, because the answer requires painful honesty. I think of a woman I once counseled, bright, gifted, and with so much potential. Yet every relationship she entered was with men who devalued her. And when those relationships collapsed, she grew bitter, asking, why won't God send me someone good? But the truth was, she didn't believe she was worthy of someone good. She thought chasing attention was the same thing as being chosen. And every time she compromised, she taught people how little she valued herself. God wasn't withholding love from her. He was trying to teach her to raise her standards, to stop begging for scraps and start building her worth. Here's what you must understand. Attraction is not magic. It's not chemistry alone. It's competence. It's the recognition that someone has built something admirable in themselves, that they stand upright, that they carry themselves with dignity and back away from it. That kind of presence draws people in naturally. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to manipulate it. It's rooted in who you've become. Marriage, real marriage, is not a reward for being lonely long enough. It's not a certificate God hands you because you endured enough disappointment. It's a covenant, a serious, weighty responsibility that demands maturity, vision, and character. If you don't cultivate those things and back away from it, the right person will pass you by, because they're not looking for someone to rescue. They're looking for someone to build with. So here's my challenge. Stop begging the world to notice you. Stop exhausting yourself chasing people who are not running toward you. Ask instead, who am I becoming? What am I building What kind of life am I creating that someone else would be honored to join from it? Because once you begin to live out that answer, you will find that love doesn't need to be hunted. It begins to find you. And here is the undeniable truth you cannot escaping. The partner you attract will always reflect the person you are. If you want someone of substance, then become someone of substance. That's the hidden law of relationships. And the reason God sometimes withholds is not because he is cruel, but because he refuses to let you settle for a love that doesn't match your worth. That is protection in its purest form. Most people think waiting on God means sitting in a corner, hoping that someday the heavens will open and the right person will magically appear. That's not waiting. That's passivity. And passivity, character of those we put in positions of power matters. And some of you, why do so many struggle in relationships? It's simply because God hasn't answered their prayers. Or is it because they've confused waiting with wasting? They expect destiny to arrive like a delivery package because we put in positions of power matter. And sometimes while their own lives remain unprepared and unfocused, maybe the truth is brutal but clear. God will never give you what you're not ready to handle. I knew a man who spent years praying for a wife. He'd tell everyone, because put in positions of power matter. Sometimes I'm just waiting on God's timing. But when you look closely at his life, he had no direction, no vision, no stability. He hadn't dealt with his anger. He hadn't disciplined his habits. Because sometimes we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes he hadn't even learned his own household. He expected God to entrust him with another person's future. What he called waiting on God was really avoiding responsibility. Those we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes, and that's why every relationship collapsed, because he was expecting love to fix him instead of fixing himself. Here's the hard truth: desperation and passivity are two sides of the same coin. Both repel love. If you're desperate, sometimes we put in positions of power matters, and you chase people away. If you're passive, you stay stuck in cycles of frustration. Real attraction is built when someone sees competing stability, self-respect. Those qualities say, because the character of those we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes I built a life worth sharing. That's what draws people, and that's what keeps them there. The mindset shift you need is this marriage is not the end of your personal development. It is the continuation of it. Demands sacrifice, because the character matter of those we put in positions of power matters and responsibilities. If you're not active preparing financially, emotionally, spiritually, you are asking God to bless immaturity. And he won't do it because his delays are not there, they are protection. So here's the challenge, because the character of those we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes if waiting is only stop blaming is blaming God for what you haven't built. Instead, prepare, heal the wounds you've ignored, develop the discipline you've resisted, step into your calling so that when the right person comes, because just the character of those we put in positions of power matters, and find you already standing upright, already capable of partnership. And here's the undeniable truth you cannot escape. God's timing is not about passivity. It's about readiness. He is not withholding love from you. Character of those we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes he is shaping so when love comes, it will not destroy you. And until you grasp that, every delay will feel like punishment. But once you understand that every delay becomes protection, and that realization changes everything, we put in positions of powership matters. And sometimes the dangerous illusion people love and care about it will fix them. That once the right person arrives, the emptiness will vanish, the kill settle, and life will finally make sense. That is a fantasy and a destructive one, because the character of those we put in positions of power matters. And some of you in a relationship broken, hoping to be rescued, you don't bring love into that union. You bring dependency, and dependency is the seed of resentment. So here's the question you must confront: why do so many relationships collapse? I'm in positions of power matters. And sometimes why the culture obsessed with loving up so fractured, so heartbroken, so lost? Because we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes is it really because the right person shown up yet, or is it because people refuse to build themselves into the kind of individuals capable of sustaining love once it comes? Because we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes that's the uncomfortable truth. Love doesn't fail because timing is cruel. It fails because people are unprepared for the weight it carries. I knew a woman who prayed every night for her husband. She was faithful. She was sincere. That's because we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes she waited, but waiting turned into bitterness, and bitterness turned into desperation. So when someone finally showed interest, she clung to them with everything she had, ignoring the warning signs. Within 2 years, because leader of those we put in positions of power matters, and sometimes leaving married devastated. And she said to me, why would God let this happen? But God hadn't abandoned her. But God had tried to protect her. She mistook delay for denial and rushed ahead unprepared. Carry those we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes what the blessing was really a burden she wasn't ready to carry. Here's the reality you can't ignore. Destined sabotages love before it even begins. Desperation says, Because we put those lead positions in power matters. And sometimes I will settle for less than I'm worth just so I won't be alone. But true attraction isn't born from need. It's born from competence, from self-respect, from the ability to stand upright and say, because leader positions are put in the positions of power matters. Sometimes I have built a life worth sharing. That kind of person begged to be chosen. They draw others in because strength and wholeness are magnetic. And this is where the mindset shift must happen. Put in positions of power matters. And sometimes marriage is not a trophy that hands out to patients. It's a sacred covenant, demands sacrifice, maturity, and vision. If you're not willing to grow into the kind of person capable of carrying that responsibility, because we character put in positions of power matters. And sometimes the minimum amount of waiting will prepare you to work. You must confront your chaos, discipline your desires, and become someone worthy of covenant love. So here's my challenge to you, because we character put in those positions of power matters. Sometimes, and stop waiting for someone else to make your life meaningful. Stop chasing people who do not see your worth and start becoming, build yourself into the kind of person who doesn't just desire love, but can sustain it, because the positions we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes, and the truth that cannot escape is this: the love you long will not arrive because you prayed harder or waited longer. It will arrive because you became ready. God is not withholding to punish you. He is withholding to protect you, because the character of those we put in positions of power matters. And sometimes they don't realize you grasp that every delay is not but a blessing.